Hey everybody, it's Chakra. Vishuddha. Vishuddha. Attune. Sound. Throat. The right to speak our truth. Shadow. Lies. Ugh. I've asked you to do some work thinking about what are the things in others that really bother you. And then I asked you to act it out. So this is one of them. I really struggle when I feel like someone's lying to me, to others. Oh. But of course I do. You know, a lot of my childhood and my youth and my journey was based in lies. And then to think, okay, often, right? My mother lied to protect us. You know, the crime family and the criminal nature of everything. I think she was very worried often that my that my brother would have found out and would have just, done something and gotten injured himself. She shares that more now, So she did that in love. So to keep me protected, oh, you're so sensitive now, you're so this, you're so that. She didn't share those things, in love. And I can see how I was spared in many ways now as well, But even now, here, 51 years old, I don't have all the story. And that's okay, because now what I have more is my story. My connection to how I connect out, how I connect to sound, connect to myself, find when I'm in that armoring up. We talk about the comfort zone, finding when I'm like, and I have recreated, in situations we can recreate the trauma. The body keeps the score vessel. This is like an amazing therapeutic book, very intense and amazing. And a few years ago, my children, my daughter in particular, had some friends that were being really oppressed and not able to communicate what was going on because some higher leaders were really afraid, so they're trying to keep everything quiet. And so in that, it was an eruption of a fight in the parking lot. And the individuals that were standing up in their way only felt they had one other option. And so in that way, then there was criminal behavior, although for others it wasn't criminal, for them, all of this power over stuff going on. So my husband and I saw that our daughter was really needing some help, and she asked for so little. So we showed up, and then in my ability to push forward, my husband's ability to really see situation in a high thinking brain, we effected great change. Not just the two of us. We had a wonderful family, our children, our friends, and a lot of amazing people. But in that, I had a death threat, and so somebody wanted to kill me. I thought, isn't that so interesting? Here I am, in the truth. Some of these kids, one in particular, did not have parents that could show up for him, and so I had his back, the way that I needed someone to have mine. And then, out of nowhere, somebody threatens to kill me. So it's always this interesting pattern. And not everybody knew what was going on because I wanted to stay quiet and not ask people who would run to my rescue to get involved, and then maybe that would then in turn hurt them. So very interesting. Very proud of my daughter, my son, my husband, the individuals that took this fight to the parking lot. It's upsetting because I can feel that was like their last recourse. They tried all these other things. I guess that brings me to my father. My father was trying to leave the life that he was living so that he could be with my mom and us. And so he went on this last recourse to get some finances and made some bad choices, and in turn, he was killed. There were 3 people they were planning to kill. They only found him. and then they had to lay off because of a lot of other things going on. And I think, oh my gosh, watching in which we armor up and pattern and repattern. So in the place of our greatest strength, there in the shadow lies too our greatest strength. But too much one, too much the other. Now, deficits. So when I come here from this spa sense as well, our skin, our sound, our communication, the way in which we connect out to others, all of this, right to our own life, then duality, then stepping in which way we want in the third chakra, and then our heart needing in, needing out, now from our truth, the smallest space, this fine little, it's like a straw. It's like you're sucking up the ocean, deciding what you want to come out. So what is it you want to come out? And how do we work through this? We have the exercises. We'll do more bioenergetics, pushing the ground, rocking, and then really just understanding, stretching out, using your ball, rolling back, all of these ways. We're just connecting to the sound, the internal. What's it saying here? What's it saying? I told you I would share with you my other tattoo. And when I went with my best friend Debbie, we got two. We got the best friend tattoos that I showed you, and then we each got another one. She was getting another one. I was like, I'll do it too. So I don't know if you could see it, but it was like an eternity sign, but we made it into a heart. It's beautiful, beautiful tattoo artist was very willing to do this. And it says, click. Now when I got that done, Debbie, it's nice to have a sarcastic best friend, as she said to me, and then I married that guy, and I love it because it's true. She was leaned over as he's doing it, and she's like, you know, everyone's gonna think that says chick, right? In so much pain because the top of your foot really hurts. And I was just like, could you go away now? Yeah. Anyway, so funny because people often say, I'm like, what do you think that says? And they're often like, well, is it supposed to say chick? Because it says click. And I'm like, no, ha! See where I can go in your face? Just kidding. That's just like my New Yorker that's in there. And all my bits. Anyway, so click. My beautiful niece, Kirsten, and I were talking about some things one day, and I was going to get this tattoo. And she said, gosh, why aren't you using your click? That's like your thing. I was like, thank you, Kier. So I did it. Now, I was a new mother, 32, 2 children, Isabel and Luke, and I was sitting there and I could not shake this weight and like breastfeeding and all of these great, wonderful things. And I was just like, I don't know. I really was 19,000 times my size, and often thinking about just in the way in which my body held the pregnancy and the process. I've shared it with you, right? I really had a hard time just letting go, and so I was swollen everywhere. And I was watching Oprah, and Eckhart Tolle was on, and he was discussing awakening your life's purpose, a peaceful earth. Beautiful, a new earth awakening to your life's purpose. It's written up in the write-up that you'll get, and so you don't have to write all this down. You'll have it. And so I was, I loved Oprah. I love Oprah. And I was like reading, taking this moment. My kids are climbing all over me. I'm just sitting here and like, now I can see my trauma body. And I see this exercise. And it says, notice anytime you say a self-defeating thought, and when you say that thought, just notice it, let it go. Like my niece Nicole would say, blow it out like a bubble. And then just notice each time it comes, just let it go. You don't need to do anything else. Make a word association. And I was like, first of all, I didn't even like that then there was squiggly and it says, do nothing else, this is enough work for the day. And I was like, no one gets to tell me. Really, back in the day, and now I'm asking you guys all this. And I was like, what? So I looked down, the remote control was there, and this is before Adam Sandler's awesome movie Click. But I saw the remote control, and I heard myself say something like, oh my God, you don't even know how to do this now? Like, it's like a one little thing. You can't even click. And so that began a very big journey into separating my ego self, my brain. We're always so in the West, brain, so detached from our body, We have this little tiny connector to everything, our nervous system, our lifeline, all of this. And in that first hour, I clicked 30 times. So I started crying because what I realized is I was raising my two beautiful children with a mother who every other minute says something negative about herself. It doesn't make me cry. For a long time, that would make me cry. So it was in that place that I began this journey, 32. I'm 51 now. I might have said I was 50 earlier, 51. And in that process, I did it really so that they could have a mother that had higher self-esteem. It's true. It's doing it for them. But I can remember a moment, I don't know, maybe it was like 6 years later, maybe it was 8. It was when I started training and running and just doing 20 minutes of something outside of like everybody else, just for me, a day. I started doing it for me. And my shoulders started going up and I go, and so it's nice to have the click. It's on my foot. Sometimes I look down and I'm like, thank you. Click so much less now. My clients come up with some great names, so you can borrow the click until you have one of your own, or take this, or you have one right now. That's awesome. Share it with me. Click, clack, Sinn Fein, like all different amazing, amazing little things that we just started saying. So we have hallelujah, we have click, we have the voo, we have the breathing patterns, we have the movement, we have the get off my back, give yourself an effing break, and then notice from others, they're just trying to figure out why that puzzle piece doesn't fit, you know? And that's okay. I'm going to ask you to come with self-love, self-compassion, self-compassionate care, and I want you to think about how do we hold ourselves? How do we find these places, right? Do we hold our back up? Thank you for listening to this bit. In my bits, the right to speak my truth. You know, I remembered saying, animals don't leave their young. So when my mother left us, I had to hide that down. Class president, captain of cheerleading, straight A's. I tried to do everything. And then at some point I started getting really pissed off. My mother wanted me to take Latin for when I was going to be a doctor. So I remembered she left 9th grade. I'd take Latin. I was so mean to that teacher. If you're out there, I apologize to you, Mr. Salisbury. I still remember his name. It was not nice. I was angry. And he was a little like getting into my energy zone in a way that wasn't okay either, and I will say that. So in the ways that I acted out, because I was so pissed off at my mother hearing I'm taking Latin and you got in the car and drove away, really? Angry. I smoked cigarettes. My grades fell, but luckily I caught myself pretty quick. And I always want to say I'm sorry to anybody that I had to push away in order to catch myself, but I needed both my hands. I did. And in those patterns, when we think about here, right, I shared with you eating issues, eating disorders, addictions, filling in, pushing out, oh my gosh, my energy pattern, I threw up so much. That was a really big part for me too. The purging. We think about purification and we think about Visuddha. For me, my throat. And so in the ways that I was able to move through a lot of this also was through singing. And so I just sing telegrams and love to sing. And so maybe you'll sing a little bit here. Maybe you'll just come up with a little bit of sound, and then noticing even the emotions that come out when you look in the mirror and I ask you to say, I love you, right? In our emotional connectivity, you know, in the relationships, in our endocrine system, in the ways that we have our responses. Human beings, being human. And so, in 5th chakra communication, this other piece is, I ask clients, I save all my glass jars, peel this off, find a jar, find some little jar, keep whatever, And sometimes it's little baskets. This is one in particular, a client of mine that I'm holding for her this basket. And so as you do this work, shedding some tears, moving through some bits, I want to ask you, capture those parts of yourself. They've served you well. Thank them for serving you. And release them so you don't need them anymore, but to honor them. And so maybe there's little bits happening here as you're writing things, feeling things. Maybe it's little tiny, tiny bits. Put them in a little container. Maybe you decorate this. Painting, coloring. Finding different ways to connect in. And then, where do you put yourself? Like I said, I still have some of my clients' things. I'm taking care of them. They feel like they need a little love and help still. Some of my clients, my daughter in particular, she told me that I could do this. She, look at how beautiful the coloring. She started doing this work and all of a sudden, she's like, oh my gosh, Mom, look, is this good? And I'm like, you're an incredible artist. She told me that I could share. My brother, he was able to just go in and come out and make magical, magical work. Maybe it's a poem, maybe it's a dance, maybe it's a song, maybe it's a tree. In ways that you start creating. Maybe it's videoing. I created facials, I do aesthetic training, my somatic training videos, and you'll read my writing, poems. I have a beautiful friend, he puts pictures in here, and this is all cut out from different backgrounds, and he makes yoga poses, more beautiful artwork. Maybe you make little hearts and you send them out to yourself, maybe to others, and in ways in which, I love this one, I love them all. We communicate now. My son, who is not here right now, he's a drummer, and he's learning bass and the guitar and singing. He's doing a podcast. For him, music, drumming, singing, what is it for you? Where is that creativity for you? Where does it come? And maybe even right now, there might be this like emotional response to, I don't have any time for that, Natalie. Like, this is actually really, okay. Tap, tap. You know the drill. You know the deal. And you know that you're not alone. I talk about the number one human need to belong in communication, to be with. There's my mother and there's my father. I have very few pictures of them. Started letting them be with me. Find a nice picture of my brother. And finding ways to be with myself. Finding ways in which to heal my wounds. Feel my wounds, connect with myself, and let myself in. Let myself into my feelings. And then when we feel them, feeling the feels. Somebody just said to me today, I used to call it getting into the feels just for fun. Some of this might not seem fun. And I want you to know that I understand that. And I am sorry for your sad. And I'm sorry for your wounds. And I'm grateful for your light. So we're just going to come on up as we close here in the 5th chakra. We have this nice massage. I'm going to do some hands and feet points. But here, I want you to just push down with the ground, push down with your knees, soften, feel. take your hands and put them at your back. Kind of come back here, your sacrum area right here. Hold your back. Give yourself a little love. And soften this spot. Soften these bits. Let's do some shoulder shrugs here. Up and down, around, forward. Now stretch back. And in the back stretch mudra. You release. Always right there. With the with the relief. Honestly, I hope you'll try some of these. I really want you to consider this. Ready? It's just, maybe there's some things you need to say to someone, and maybe they're not here anymore. Maybe they're up in heaven. Maybe they're not accessible. Maybe they don't want to hear from you. Maybe it's not safe for you to communicate with them. You can ask somebody else and do a withhold. Say to them, can I just say some things to you? And could you just listen and not respond back? Write the letter. You can burn the letter. You can honor the letter. You can plant the letter. You can rip the letter. You can read the letter. I want you to work on getting this out. And sometimes it doesn't need to be words. It doesn't need to be a story. That could be enough. That's enough. I can't wait to see the creative little shrine, all the little bits we're making, little places and pieces, little ways in which you send yourself love, you send yourself attention, you give yourself time, you give yourself support, you create more color in your life. All the colors and richness to be seen and felt, and in the vibration of color and energy and of love. Be attuned to the just right sounds for us. Beautiful client and fellow cohort who I love so much bought me this. So I'd like to just ask you, do you hear you? Is it hard to hear you? We don't need to push here. If it's too hard, then you just hold you. Get your stone, come to your heart mat. Just hold you. That is everything. You are everything. You are enough. I see you. I hear you. And I honor you. And let's come out with a sound to finish this. An Om. And in thinking about the ways in which we speak to ourselves, the way that we are working through liberating and manifesting our currents, our energy body, our space here, the ways in which we hear ourselves, we speak to ourselves, we allow ourselves to be connected, to be seen. Think about that for yourself. What is your story here in this place? What is it that you want to connect with? What do you want to dive into? What do you want to connect with? We have the breath. We have our ground. You're just listening to the sound. I'm trying to find something. I'm not sure I'm going to be able to find it. I can share it with you next time. No, I have it here. And so in the yoga space here, quieting the fluctuations of our mind, my click. There are seed sounds and resonant sounds. And so here, hum. And if we're to think about it in a resonant sound, it's E. And so if we just want to take a moment, I'll do 1 and up. Chakra 1 is lam, lam, lam. Chakra 2 is vam, vam, vam. Chakra 3 is ram, ram, ram. Chakra 4 is yam. You can feel it even when you do it. Yam, yam. Chakra 5 is hum, hum, hum. Chakra 6 is om, om, om. Chakra 7 is no sound. In the seed sounds, it's o, oo, ah, I, e, So we're going to incorporate all these in the next 2 chakras as we're moving up. But here, hum, you can feel it, ah. And even if we're doing, it's the L for lam, it goes down, and then vam, vam, you can feel it in the 2nd chakra. Ram, I feel it right away. You can even see it in me, right? Sounds, our energy body, hum. I can feel it actually coming from behind my heart and like really vibrating and actually massaging that spot just for us, the right to self-love. Hum. I love that. Yeah, excuse me. Yum. There it is. Yum. Because the hum didn't feel right. Now here. Hum. Hum. Thinking about this. Hum. Yee. Try that as we move out. Yee. 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 Are you doing it with me? Hum. 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 Try it with me. I'll do it a few more times as we go out. Getting comfortable. Hum. We'll do them all together. Lam, 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 vam, 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 ram, ram. You can tell I connect with it. Ram, yam, 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 and here. Hum, hum. You can stretch them out. I'm just moving up so that this video will be complete. Hum. Om. Om. We'll finish on the Om, and then the 7th chakra. I'll put these down below so you have them. We'll practice them, the next 2 chakras. In the sound with you, I say hallelujah. 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 Namaste, my friends.